है बस के हर एक उनके है बस के हर एक उनके निशाने में इशारे है बस कि हर एक उनके इशारे में निशान और करते हैं मोहब्बत तो गुजरता है गुमा और यारब वो न समझे हैं न समझेंगे मेरी बात दे और दिल उनको जो न दे मुझको जुबा हो. So that was Ghalib's couplet to start with. Welcome to Sheetalnath Conversations. You are witnessing our 94th historic show broadcasted at 7 p.m. Sunday on the weekends. I hope you must have spent your Sunday very well. And those of you who live in the other part of the planet where sun has just risen and day has just opened, I wish them all the best for a wonderful day. I'm really indebted to all the esteemed viewers of Sheetalnath Conversations across the globe who are very meticulously following it and who value its format, conceptualization, research, presentation, and all the aspects. It's a great rendezvous happening on every Sunday. We are in the last leg of monsoon, and you know monsoon, as you say, it is the Sawan ka mahina Pavan Kare Shore. That's a very popular number in the movie number, and it's a beautiful season. And many poets, right from Kalidasa to Shakespeare, everybody has written about monsoons, about the rainy season. And this monsoon, you know, it has many glorious songs, many glorious literature, and it's an intertwining and interplaying of the wind and the sun and the breeze and the sun and the rain. But sometimes, you know, in our northern India, it is slightly harsher, and we have to feel a bit of humidity. So, you know, that's how the life is: day and night, dark and light. That's how this existence exists. So that's how this dynamics goes. It is being said that when we come to this janma, we have to live in dichotomy, in duality. We have to see the miseries and joy, sorrows and happiness, all the kind of things, you know, darkness, day and night. So that was for it. And, you know, having said that, I would look to say that many times I really feel that we this plethora which has been opening up since last 2.5 years, we have been crisscrossing through the wonderful spots. Those lie dormant; those are rather vanished into the sea of time, sand of time, and we are reinventing those spots lying in the time spaces of different time spaces and different ways of millennia, as well as centuries and decade. And our these guests are very erudite, brilliant people who have a capability and who are bestowed with great qualities of bringing those wonderful stories, wonderful anecdotes, colorful, graceful, rapture kind of a things back into this present form. And we have been doing reasonably well. We have crisscrossed through all the corridors from corporate to the landscape of Kashmir, from the corporate world. Kashmir is in the corporate world. Old Kashmir is landscape of present day Kashmir, ancient glory, ancient system, ancient ancient wisdoms, literature, art, musicology, treatises, travelogues, you know, and you know, I mean, we are doing with sociology. We have been there on many times. We have done subjects on sociology, folk memory, towns, you know, wonderful monarchies, transitions. So that's how it has been. I think this is a very romanticizing journey, and it is based on very hard research team and a very strength of our guests who are very erudite, very well known, very capable people, the personalities who have done something, contributed something. There's a very kind of a, you know, we have a very strong scrutiny procedure to bring the guests to the show. Until now, it has been a great joy. I think you all must be. Let's begin this day. I want to say that today we want to begin with a topic, as we all know, about the religion. Religion is something I have a very a view about religion. Although India, we don't have religion. We call it dharma. Dharma and religion are two separate things. But religion, I think it is covered by, encapsulated by one cover, another cover, third cover, and its essence is spirituality. Once these covers go on, getting grosser and grosser and grosser. It's very difficult to reach to the core. So that is the dichotomy of the religion. But today we are going to talk about the spirituality of this wonderful land situated in the Himalayas, on the right side of Himalayas, in the lap, land of this majestic mountain towering Himalayas. And certainly we are going to talk about certain things related with which are very famous in terms of its name and essence. Especially, I'm talking about Trika Shastra, Kashmir Shaivism, and also Buddhism, which from which the offshoot of Mahayana and other things happened. And certainly, we are going to talk about all these aspects. And I must congratulate all of you once again that our Chandrayana has finally landed on the moon. That's somewhere down the line. Salutation to the ancient science and wisdom. And it is somewhere down the Aryabhatta who gives zero to the world, and the numerations happen. All these things are somewhere connected. Theology is connected with the science, but it needs the brilliant brains and brilliant things. Once again, congratulations to all the people, all the countrymen. So, as per Trika Shastra, as per legend goes, with what I had once I had lectured somewhere. As per the legend goes, this probably this Trika Shastra, which has started from the lineage of Triambaka, and Triambakeshwar is the Manasputra. Manasputra is the mind son of Rishi Durvasa. So Rishi Durvasa was summoned to the Mount Kailash by Kantadeva. Kantadeva was a carnation of Lord Shiva to spread this Kashmiri Shaivism, not Kashmiri Shaivism, Shivism, the Trika Shastra, the complete Shivism in its all exponents, dualism, non-dualism, dualism, non-dualism, to the world. But he was also given a very, very strong kind of a bestowed with a great facility of creating mind suns, creating suns not in the physical through the physical contact, but through the mind, with the willpower of the mind, which he was bestowed by the Kantadeva to the Durvasa. So that is how the legend goes, and then we know the story. Then the Vasugupta and the Soma Deva, and I know 15th generation down the Triambakeshwara, because Triambakeshwara was given, non-dualism. Non-dualism was given to the Triambakeshwar, and Agastam was given the dualism, and then the third one, Srikant, was given dual non-dualism. But Triambakeshwar lineage went finally 15th generation went to the Kashmir, and Sangmaditya was there. He married a local Brahmin lady, and finally this whole practice of Manasputra, the mind sons, stopped there on. And then this parampara of Guru Shishya and this tradition of Guru Shishya parampara started, and that is the whole story. That we know about the Vasugupta, we know about the Somadatta, and then we know about the Utpal Deva, and this Abhinav Gupta, the great, the majestic, the brilliant encyclopedia Abhinav Gupta. And besides that, we also know that lineage had happened. And last time we had been to Lakshmanju, and Lakshmanju is considered to be the last Acharya. We don't know much about it, but certainly I've seen that certain things have been. There are many, many wonderstruck questions that this wonderful science, profound science of consciousness, which prevailed in this part of the Himalayas, did it identify with the rest of the world? How was it structured? How did it originate? Did it go to the oblivion for how many times? And when it came back, it was resurrection. When did it happen? And finally, even the modern times, before Lakshmanju, Ramju, how did it resurrect? Did the entire thesis and the entire philosophy came back? Were these traditions one way or the other way available in our folklore? How these ancient sciences ultimately travel back to present times? And what is the contemporary relevance? How many people are following it? What is the core concept, and what is its diversity? Many, many aspects we really want. We are really intending these questions are in the minds of the youngsters and the future generations. They will definitely ask us. Such a profound science existed on this part of our land, and yet majority of us don't know much about it. Just poetry of people all around. I know in the terms of Lakshmanju also. I know there must be many stories around it. But we certainly are going to talk also about the period of Buddhism, because from here, Kumarajivi and many Nagarjuna and other people, they came out, and many saints from here traveled to the Central Asia. So we all must know also about this how Mahayana traveled and how these things conceptualized. Where did it travel? What was the story all about? What was the bandwagon of spread? Where did it actually spread? Did it remain confined to a particular sect or something like that? So we need really a scholar of that great order, that great understanding, to make us understand all these things. Today we are very fortunate. I have my guest today is a very erudite, well-known, masterly scholar, uh, Dr. Moti Lal Pandit. He is the secretary of uh, International Center of Dialogue and Research, Denmark. He is a basically he's a man who has authored more than 30-25 books on the different philosophies of Kashmir Shaivism, Mahayana, Christianity, and other this chronicles in the contemporary chronicles of the Orient. And he's a very wisdomful man, and he has traveled through his books and through his literature into the depth and the width of this entire science of wisdom which prevailed in Kashmir. I mean, almost 2 millenniums, 1 millennium ago, 1 millennia ago, 2 millennia ago. So that is how it is, and certainly we are going. He's a man who has been taught by the teachers in Kashmir and outside Kashmir. He has written more than 500, 300 papers on the Kashmir Shaivism and all other aspects about and this Kashmir Shaivism, its practical and its philosophical aspects, the tantric aspects, and other aspects. And it is a really delight and a great delight and a privilege to have a man of his understanding, of his wisdom, into our studio. So let us welcome Dr. Motilal Pandit Saab into Shitala's Conversation studio. Dr. Saab, you are welcome into Shitala's Conversations 94th illustrious historic show. It's a great delight to have you on our studio.
Thank you very much. I welcome your good introduction. And before I start, I would recite, I invoke my Guru, who is Supreme Parameshwar.
Right.
Agad samshayamboj sam utarnatarni vichitra artha padam chitram tam Guru Bharati. I am very grateful and thankful to you that you have found it appropriate to invite me to speak on a subject which is my life, which is to say as to what Kashmir Shaivism, which is not actual nomenclature.
Yes.
Actual nomenclature is Rahashyavad or Parma Ishwar Advaitavad. Ishwar
Otherwise,
Advaitavad. That and 30
non-dualism.
years later, that was Abhinavgupta that coined this term, which has become very famous. But the traditional name is this. The Kashmir Shaivism came into vogue.
Dr. Saab, I'll intervene you. First of all, before we begin the program, I would like, before we come to the Shaivism, the main subject, I would like, first of all, you to visit your childhood and the place you lived and what was the ecology around and how did you connect with, how were the elders in the family, how was the sociology, how was the environment, and how was, because you, I know that you are born to a very historical, near, in a village near historical place, but tell us something about your childhood, and after that we'll go on with the main topic, please.
Yes, I will do that, but this was just an introduction.
Okay.
I was born in 1945 in a village called Mahind,
Right, sir.
which is 7 kilometers from Bijbehara on the one side. And on the other side from the Bijbehara, if we take another route, it is more than nearly 10 kilometers. So I was born in this small, it's a quite a large village, nearly 500 households. I was born in that village and we were professionally having land. And so my childhood was spent with cattle, with sheep, with horses,
Ah,
and with in the
wonderful.
field. And that was it was very harsh. And because in those days there were no amenities available,
in those
there
days.
were no roads, there were no schools, there were no medical centers. So you had to do it on your own and survive. And we existed in a kind of society in which there was very little cash. It was all done in kind, mostly in villages. If there was a nai barber, at the end of the year he would get certain amount of paddy. Same with the shepherd,
Yeah.
same with shoemaker, everybody. It was all transaction in cash, not in cash, in kind.
Kind.
So it is
Transaction
in
kind.
that kind of environment I used to live. And there was a small school in our village, which unfortunately I have to say, there were two teachers. It was up to the fifth class.
Okay.
One of the teacher was a landlord. He would hardly visit the school. Maybe during winter season he would come, and after autumn and everything was over, then he would sleep in the school and ask us to press his legs. That was the environment. And there was hardly any education. Whatever education in our family there was, it was all in Persian. My great grandfather was a great Persian scholar, and so
Right.
he, in the our surroundings, who our studied Persian in those days, he had to come to my great grandfather, and he was imparted that knowledge. That was all that existed. And in my family, they had this knowledge, and my grandfather was also a great scholar. You could say Karima, Babaksha, Halima. He used to teach all these things, but basically we were farmers. So
Right.
we had a couple of pair of bullocks, maybe 50, 60 sheep, some cows, three, four cows, a horse. My father was a very fond, he was a very good horse rider. So since there was no availability of schooling in the village, so then I had to go somewhere to study. Bijbihara, I had to walk on foot, which was very difficult at the age of 10 or 12. It was very fast, 7 kilometers. That means 14 kilometers to and fro. And there were no roads. In the harsh winter, how could we go? Then I went to my Nani Hall, Matamal.
Hmm.
And from there, it was Mutton, where I
Mutton.
studied my high school. And it was at the 3 kilometers. And the road was much not so bad as it is. If I had gone to Vishvara from my home, it was quite tough. But as and when I had the opportunity to be at home, I had to spend whole day in the field, or look after the sheep, or look after the bullocks, or look after the horse. So it was not for a child like me. There were no plays and games and the free time that children usually now have. They enjoy. It was very harsh. What you may call it was real tapasya. It was very quite harsh, that
Penance.
existence of a child. He had no means to be in a joyful mood, because there was pressure of work. There was, because when you live in a village life is very harsh. They have to go to the field, cut the paddy, then bring it home and trash it. Children, they also had to join. There was no any other option. And when there were cattle, they had to be looked after. The available means of looking after the cattle were the children. So
Right.
children did much more work than our elders did. Our elders would do only heavy work. But so there was very little time for studies. Even when I was in Matamar, When I came, when we used to come to back from school, then we had to look after the cow, take her for the grazing, and that was the life in the village. So it was not so romantic as nowadays people may imagine it. And nowadays in the villages, there are all the facilities. In my village, there is a hospital, there is a college. Now at this time, there are roads, and everybody has a car. So the whole sociology of life has changed for last 30, 40 years. It has, whether it is good for progress, but in our days it was very difficult. Even when one was a sick, if it was very sick man, there was no transport to carry. So he would be taken on a charpai. 4, 5 people would take him on a charpai to the hospital. You can understand the kind of life that exists at the time when I was born and in the environment I lived. But one thing was very good in the village. There was
Right, sir.
cooperation. One felt for one another. We may not have too many things in our life, but whatever we had, we shared it with others. And if there was a sick person in our neighborhood, and all the people from the village, they would come and see to him how he is. They would care for him. This was the concern, but that concern is no more existing. People have become drop. What Jean-Paul Sartre would call it drop, meaning passionless. They have lost passion of life. They have become mechanical robots. Their consciousness is so profane by modern materialistic tendencies, attitudes, and what we call aspirations, that human relationships are no more the same as they were. Even in the school, when I was studying in the school, most of the teachers would not teach properly. It's true. There was only one teacher whom I will never forget. He was Abdul Ahad. He used to teach us maths, and he would never waste a single fraction of a second. All the time, he would be having chalk in his hand, and then he would be drawing geometry, and he would talk in English, of course, in this class, which none of us understood what he was talking about. But he
Okay.
was one of the teachers whom I will always remember. One of the best teachers I have had. The rest of the teachers, they would say, okay, these villagers, uh, they, that is it. And the aim of the parents at the time was not that our children should get highly educated. They should get derive their wisdom from ancient wisdom or become cosmic in consciousness. The aim was little. Anu, what we call in Kashmir in Shaivism, Anu Upai. It was little gains at that images after matriculation they would seek somewhere employment. And the salary was not very great. It was 60 rupees. The LDC would get, or a newly appointed teacher would get 50, 60 rupees. That was it. And so the life in every way was
Hectic. It was tough.
very, 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 very difficult. Very difficult. But in those difficult, I remember my mother, she would usually fall sick during winter.
Oh,
And then there was a Hakim nearby. They would not charge anything. When they would come, one will ask them to please see the patient. And they will come, they will see the patient and prescribe the whatever medicine was given, whether it was in Ayurvedic or Unani, but they would not charge. It was not. It was a service, and most of these Hakims were Muslims, and remember it. They were God fearing people. But now that element that that element of concern, that element of sharing, that element of caring does not exist even among brothers these days. If one of the brother is in Delhi, another is in maybe Bangalore, and third maybe United States, they would ever have an opportunity to meet and come together and share. Maybe even their children may not be knowing each other. After the migration, one of the greatest problems in our community is now among all people, mostly who are in diaspora, is they have no communication with each other.
Yes,
And we have become,
uh,
to put it this way, in Albert Camus' words, we have become absurd. It is like Pirandello, he wrote a very beautiful play in search of an author. We are seeking, seeking, and seeking,
in search
but
of an author.
reach the goal. It is like the myth of Sisyphus. Sisyphus, who used to take the stone on the top of the mountain, working very hard. But when he came in the morning, he woke up in the morning, he found the stone at the bottom. That is Trijlipon Sarun in Kashmiri, we call it. And that is what the life now. We may be economically well off, but existentially
Yeah.
we are
Dr.
shuny.
Saab, let's come to the subject now. I would like, before that, I would like to ask you one thing. Could you talk a bit about, for 2 3 minutes, about the mutton and its historical importance and your impact on spirituality while being in mutton or this time later out? Just 2 3 minutes, 4 minutes, then we'll come to the subject. Yeah.
Matan is a very picturesque place.
Right.
Very I used to we had a one teacher. His name I've forgotten his name. Madhav Kar. We used to call Madhav Kar. And he would implant in us the sense of spirituality, the sense of purity and impurity, the sense of good and evil. And he was very particular, and he would see to it that each one of us had the tilak in the class. Nowadays, it would be considered to be unsecular. Yeah, but the character, he built that character in us, those who were sitting under him, that you have to be a good human being. And when I used to visit the Nagbal, and it
Nagbal is
was
beautiful.
Nagbal, there the temple, everything, that is the picturesque sight. And he felt the sense of sacred, the holy, what Rudolf Otto, he wrote a book called Das Heilige, the Holy. What is the source of the spirituality? What is the source of belief in God? And he came to the conclusion it is the sense of holiness, of transcendence. And that is what you experienced as soon as you entered into Nagbal. And then you saw this big fish, people taking bath, and then going into the temple. It was it was a panorama
And,
outside of the temporal structure, a
and
profane structure.
Marthan was not very away from Marthan. The ruins of Marthan were not very away from Mutton. Marthan,
Matan and Martand is the same. It has three
same,
names.
three names.
It is called Bhavan. One,
Bhavan and
another is called Martand. That is if you write in officials, and also you can write it Matan. From
no,
Matan
I'm
it
talking about
became
that monument,
Martand is up to that is on the
Surya Temple,
Kareva.
Surya
That is
Temple,
the sun temple.
Sun
But
Temple.
entire area is called Martand, the
Okay,
sun. Uh,
ah, that's so wonderful.
and it is also Bargashekha. Bargashekha is the synonymous of Martan, which Bargashekha means the effulgent flame, the flame
Okay,
that is burning, and that is the Bargashekha Bhagavati. Uh, that
Bargashika.
is that is also in the Martan, on the top of the mountain, Kareva, what we call Budur in Kashmir. That
Good.
is, it is a wonderful sight, and the water coming from that Kareva, and that is the Martin spring. That
Spring.
is so. It is the same feeling you get in Ananta, but not such a feeling because in Martin you have the nature. In
God is
addition
hidden
to
in.
it, it is the nature, and that is what some. And then there are some tantric texts in Kashmir Shaivism, which are called Bargashekha, Saur Bargashekha. And on those Saur Bargashekha, they are the Malini Vijay, Namaka Tantra, and Swachhanda Tantra. On that is based the entire structure which Abhinavagupta weaved into the made a kind of a blanket
Into a
out of it. That's
edifice. He
what
made an
Kashmir Shaivism
edifice,
is all about.
edifice of
Huh?
Shaivism. I'll before that, I would like Dr. Sahab, I'd like to intervene one thing because our youngsters are also watching us. I would like to say, why not to reach to the origin and conceptualization of Tarka Shastra, Kashmir Shaivism, and Durvasa, and do you think? I feel personally, I feel this after the 15th generation king who married a Kashmiri Brahmin lady, there must have been a time gap. It must have eloped, or it remained in the folklore and continued till Vasugupta came in. And second resurrection was when probably the Lakshman Ju's chain, before Lakshman Ju, Ramji, and other people, they came in. Let's all know about its historical perennial flow, its conceptualization and perennial flow till present.
Kashmir Shaivism has there is two types of history.
Right, sir.
One is Shaivism as such, which is pan-Indian,
Pan
which is to
Indian.
say from Mohenjo-daro up to the present day. Then there is specifically Kashmir Shaivism, or what is called Kashmir Shaivism, or Turkish Shastra. Its history is insofar its uh, founders, its great savants, its sages and siddhas have spoken to us and told us. They have divided the history in two parts. One part of the history is non-time, that what happened beyond history, where divine in the form of Paramashiv is involved through his incarnation of Sri Kantanath.
Sri
That
Kantana.
is one part of the history, yes. And that history is that when the entire tantric lore or agamic, it is tantra and agami, they are synonymous. They are pariyavachi. They are synonymous. You can call it tantra or you can call it agam. Agam means that which has come to us. Tantra means tanyate, vistaryate, tantraha. Tantra is that which expands your consciousness. So the thrust is on consciousness. So it is said that then Sri Kantanatha asked Durvasa, who
Durvasa.
was in possession of this knowledge, to percolate for the sake of humanity this knowledge, which is the Tantra or Agama Shastra. And then he is said to have given birth to three sons, Amardat, Srinath,
Srinath.
and
Srikant.
Trayambaka.
Triambakeshwar.
So Amartak is said to have followed or given birth to the flow which is called Dvaitavad. And the Tantra, the texts that belong to this tradition, to this lineage, are 10, and they are called Shaiva Agamas. Then you have the second flow. The second flow follows from Srinath, and Srinath follows the monodualism, which is half non-dualism, half
Of
dualism.
dualism. Beda
And
Bed.
the analogy I will give you, this is our body. The entire body is composed of limbs. So, if there are no limbs, there is no body.
Hmm.
So, it is both a body is a whole that is non-dualistic. But then the parts are the limbs. So, they are dualistic in that way. So, you have a relationship, organic relationship, that is in monodualism. Then you have the non-dualistic texts. The texts that came in monodualism are known as Rudra Agamas. Then the Agamas that have flown from the tradition of what is called Advaitavad or
Advaita.
Parma Advaitavad or Ishwar Advaitavad, they are known as Bhairava and they are 64 in number. But most of
64.
these texts are no more now available. They have vanished because of after the incursion in the valley of Islam, most of the texts, hundreds and thousands of texts, are no more available. And we know them only through references or quotations in some other texts. And then these three flows came. In Kashmir, the flow that came was mainly Trayambaka. Also, then Dvaitavad was there because Shaiva Siddhant was quite prominent in Kashmir. And there were quite a few great scholars of Shaiva Siddhant, like Ramakant, like Satyojat, and these were some of the great Shaiva Siddhant. Now, the Shaiva Siddhant is confined to South, and, and they wrote quite a, uh, like Moksha Karika, Bhoga Karika. They are very important texts of the Shaiva Siddhanta. But because it could not stand up to the thinking genius of the thinkers of Trayambaka lineage, so it seems to have vanished from Kashmir. Same happened with Pancharatra. Kashmir was also the center of Pancharatra, which is a tantric school of Vaishnavas. And there in Kashmir, still are some people following the Vaishnava tradition. And our Karma Kand basically is a combination of Shaiv and Vaishnava. And take your simple puja of Janmadin, your birthday
Right.
puja, it's all Vaishnava. There is
It's
nothing,
Vaishnav.
no element Shaiva. Yes, there is no element Shaiva element in it. Nothing, absolutely. So so we have continued both the traditions.
It is.
Then
It
this
is said. It is said that much before this Triambakeshwar and Kantadeva gave birth to this new science of philosophy of Tarkashastra. Much before that, in ancient times, in Prachin times, this Pashupati, the Shiva existed in the form of Pashupati. Even in Kashmir, also in the Himalayan belt, I mean, in Nepal, we do have a temple of Pashupati, and Pashupati is traveled into the. You can find its traits into the Russia and Eurasia also. Any connection there?
this is Pashupati, Pashupatas. That is
Pashupat,
the earliest. That is the earliest school of Shaivism,
Shaivism.
Pashupatas. And then came Nakulesha. Then
Okay.
came Nakuleshevas. Then came Shaiva Siddhant. So there are so many. I have written a book called From Dualism to Non-Dualism, in which I have dealt with all the schools of Shaivism, Veer Shaivism, Shaivism, all these schools of Shaivism. So you can say the Pashupats were the dualists, and
Dualist.
Nakuli Shaivis, they were also dualists, and Shaivasiddhant, they were also dualists. Whereas the Veer Shaivas, they are monodualists. Ras, Raseshwarvad, they are also monodualists.
Monodual.
And then comes you can say it is a culmination. The culmination is Kashmir Shaivism, or now what we call Kashmir Shaivism, because of J.C. Chatterjee. He wrote
Chatterjee
this
Saab.
beautiful, a very small book. He
It
was
was
the
in Dogra
first.
rule, na? Pratap Singh's
No,
time.
you were Pratap Singh. See, I will give you all the details how
Okay.
Kashmir Shaivism was revived.
Right.
And it was Kashmir. Pratap Singh, he established the institute researching, which was in Rajbagh, near Rajbagh, or Lal Mandi. And in his own building, he established a school where they published a lot of texts. And J.C. Chatterjee was the first superintendent of that institute. And he wrote a small booklet called Kashmir Shaivism. And so it became popular term. And we call it a Kashmir Shaivism. Now, if you look at the prehistory of Kashmir Shaivism, you see, this is one of the history of which is stemming from non-time into time, from
Non-time.
atemporality into temporality. But then there is prehistory of Kashmir Shaivism. What was the shape of religion in Kashmir prior to emergence of this kind of Shaivism that we now call Kashmir Shaivism? In the time of Ashok, when Buddhism came to
Buddhism came.
Kashmir, and the only reference book we have is Neelamat Quran. It gives us a picture that the religion that existed in Kashmir was basically polytheistic, which is to say, but in that polytheistic religion, Shiva was the main, which is called Ardhanareshwar Nateshwarnath. And he was the main, but the religion was basically ritualistic. It did not have any dogmatic, doctrinal, you can say, standpoints. It just followed ritual. Like
Right.
on Tuesday or Saturday, it was a tradition in Kashmir. We will have a tahar and then take the sot, the
Right.
navi, to the temple
Naveed.
or to Rajaval. And that's a ritualistic tendency, which we still do on Bohravad or whatever good auspicious day there may be. So it was this ritualism that constituted what you call prehistoric Shaivism in Kashmir. That is, it is prehistory. So there is no clear history as to what it was in itself. But when Buddhism came, during the time of Ashok, it was peaceful. So the both Buddhists and the Shaivites, or
Shavites.
or the Brahmanas, you may call it, they lived peacefully coexistence. So most of the population was half, you may say, Shaivite and half Buddhists, and
Right.
which you find still in Mahayana, in particular when you go to Sikkim and other places, Tibetan Buddhism. There is hardly any difference in many ways when you study Hindu Tantrism and Buddhist Tantrism.
It is same.
And so this was the life. It was very peaceful life. But then came
And
Kanishka.
it, and we have also heard that this Buddha was considered to be the carnation of Lord Vishnu, like Rama and Krishna. Buddha was
Yes,
also
yes, yes.
considered to be.
There is no problem for that. Yeah, because
No,
Hindus
no.
are very open.
Nowadays, people say Buddhism is a different
You see,
religion, and
that's a
Hinduism is a
political.
different.
They are
That's what
political stance. These people are they are ignorant people. They are it's a political stance.
yeah.
Everything is nowadays politics, without facts. Um uh, Anyhow, then came Kanishak. He spoiled the whole thing, and it
He
was during
spoiled.
Kanishak. Ah,
Oh,
yes, he spoiled. And
that's the
how did
news
he
for me.
spoil it? He donated the entire Kashmir to the Sangha as a gift,
Oh,
and that created a rift between the Buddhists and Hindus, or Brahmanas, or we call Shaivites of Kashmir. And this rift became so terrible because he appointed one Nagarjun as the governor
Nagarjuna,
of Kashmir. There were so many Nagarjun. There is not a one. There are
not
so
the
many.
scholar, not the scholar,
Uh-huh.
but the
No, no, not the
not the
scholar one.
scholar. Okay.
That was he was in Nalanda. He was from Andhra, but then was teaching in Nalanda University. That's another.
Okay.
I will also talk about that, about his
Right.
philosophy. And then uh, the rift became so tragic that this man Nagarjun, when he became governor, he missionized very hard, converted by force to Buddhism. And this was a bad blood between Buddhists and Brahmanas or Shaivas of Kashmir. And but then at the
Shavites.
same time, when there was no formal kind of a Shaivite religion, they did not have any doctrines explained, any texts. Then there was one Chandradeva. He codified the ritual aspect of Kashmir Shaivism. And then the Buddhist influence on Kashmir Shaivism was at that time the interior life, that is meditational, contemplative life. So the Kashmir Shaivism is now a combination of two things: contemplative life and the ritualistic life. Both
Okay.
are now part and parcel of Kashmir Shaivism. So you can't say that this is one part, but the Buddhism has helped Kashmir Shaivism to regain, to appropriate, to syncretize into itself the elements that are the best in Buddhism, which is monastic way. Of course, Kashmiris never accepted monasticism, Kashmir Hindus, but the monasticism is in the sense they became inner monks. They delved deep, and from that derived or came out the tradition of, you may call, Siddhas, Siddha tradition.
Siddhas.
And so the Kashmir Shaivism is basically based on Siddhas, and the Tantras are the explanations of the experiences that these Siddhas have had. And that's what most of the Tantric texts are composed of.
Right.
And then when you go now back, when you say from Trayambak to Sangamadhyati, there are these
Sanmaditya,
15
fifteenth
Sangamadhyatya and
generation.
Sangamadhyatya. In
Sang,
Sanskrit, when you use, like we say Shiv, we don't say Shiva. The A is it is swar. And if there is no in vowel the swar, vowel, because the vowel, then it becomes halant, dead. So A has to be there. Say V is Vyanjan, and it
then
has to have a life, and that we put in it A, it becomes V. Otherwise, it will become wa. So
what?
this is it. That's when we speak, we don't say Shiva, we say Shiva.
Shiva.
That's what is. Of course, people don't know so much niceties and of grammar and other things,
Nuances
so
and
they
other
say
things like
Shiva.
that.
They say Shiva, and so it's okay. It's okay. That's not matter.
It's fine. Yeah.
Sometimes uh, intentional ignorance is better than so-called knowledgeable intentions. Sometimes, so it is the bhakti,
So
the love.
in a way, you are telling that the Kashmir Shaivism's contemplation part came from the Buddhism, and
Yes, yes, yes.
Buddhism's ritualistical part, and the other parts came from the Shaivism. In a way, they were
Uh,
both were amalgamated with each other.
uh, uh, uh,
That's why Avanti Varman and other, they created the viharas. Those viharas were Buddha viharas and Vishnu viharas. I mean, they created at the simultaneously, they created these viharas.
yes, and then when you take this from Trayambak to Sangamad, they come to 15 generations, which is exactly 400 years goes back.
400 years, 50 years.
That exactly goes 400 years back. So it is during this period that Tantra and other things penetrated into Kashmir. And that is how it gave the formation. And then from 6th to 7th centuries, you have these Tantra texts which formed the bedrock of Kashmir Shaivism, like Malini Vijay Tantra, Namaka Tantra, Siddha Tantra. These three tantras are called Saura Varga Shekha. They are
Okay.
higher than any other text in Kashmir Shaivism because they are considered to be so energetic. Saur means sun, the energy of sun. And they are so effulgent as Varga Shekha, as a flame. So these texts, then Abhinav Gupta came, he wrote a commentary on the Malini Vijay Vartika, Malini Vijay Tantra. And
Vijay
that
Tantra.
commentary is most important commentary. And the Malini Vijay is the basic text of Trikashaivism when you consider it in its holistic manner. Then Sangamaditya married, settled in Kashmir, and then he had well, this account is given by us by Somanand. Somanand, in his Shivadrashti, at the end of the Shivadrashti, he says that I belong to this lineage, which have stemmed from Trayambaka. And in Kashmir, we have Trayambak. Among Muslims, and Hindu, and that comes from them, Trayambak.
And
Thick.
but Vasu Gupta, I mean, was a predecessor to.
Vasugupta, you see, there are two types of teachers in Kashmir.
Okay.
You have the locals, and the locals are known as Bhatta. And then you have non-locals, they are called Gupta, mostly.
Guptas. Non-local,
Maybe
but they lived there for 300 years, 400 years,
they
200
lived
years.
there for 100 hours, they became, but this is the origin.
Okay.
Anyhow, we don't go into that. Then this Sangama Jati, when he settled in Kashmir, from him stepped Arunaditi, Varshaditi, then comes Anand, and from him comes Somanand. And
Somananda.
Somanand is the 19th member of this lineage. The lineage which stemmed from Sangamadit, with Trayambakadit. And that is how Kashmir Shaivism, or what you call non-dualist Shaivism, flourished. And these Barga Shakha texts became the basis. Now, what happens in the 8th century? From 8th century to 12th century, Kashmir bursts forth with creativity. It is unimaginable to see such a creativity, whether it is arts, whether it is aesthetics, whether it is philosophy, whether it is linguistics, whether it is poetry. Kashmir Shaivism flourished like anything else. But then, from the 14th century onwards, everything came stand still.
Then
I
sultans
mean,
came in.
what? Yes, Vasugupta Acharya, Vasugupta Pada, he is said to have composed the text of Shiva Sutra. There are two traditions concerning
Right.
as to how Shiva Sutra came into existence. One tradition belongs to
Vasudeva.
Khemraj.
Hemraj.
Another tradition belongs to Bhaskar Acharya. How Khemraj says in his Shiva Sutra Vimarshini that it was Lord Shiva who appeared in a dream to Vasugupta and told him that there on the Mahadev mountain there is a boulder, big rock. You should go there and you should touch the rock, it will turn. And the entire text of the Shiva
Shavas.
Sutra is inscribed there. This
Revealed.
is one tradition. This is much more common tradition, is acceptable among the Kashmiris. The other tradition stem from Kalatvat. Kalatvat was such a great man. He is the only person. Abhinavgupta is not mentioned here. Kalatvat is mentioned in Rajatarangini. And he is referred to as a Siddha from heaven. He was of such a great, what you call, spiritual stature. And from him stems the tradition that is Pragarjun, then you have Mahadev Bhatt, then you have Shrikant, then Bhaskar. Bhaskar wrote a commentary on Shiva Sutra, which is called Vartik. The name of the tradition is called, of the text is called Vartik, Shiva Sutra Vartik. He mentioned there that Bhagavan Shiv, Parama Shiv, appeared to Vasugupta in dream. But then he says the entire text was revealed to Vasugupta Acharya in the dream. And it so happens because Vasugupta Acharya is said to have been a great teacher, great spiritual giant. He remembered the entire text. When he woke up and he composed the Shiva Sutra. This is much more reliable tradition
Then
than the Chem Rajas. Why? Because nobody can write. Then the inscription should have been there on the rock, which
yeah.
is not there. So Bhaskar Acharya is, and Bhaskar, between Bhaskar Acharya and Kalatabat, there is a gap of 4 generations. Pragarjun, Mahadevar, Shrikant, and then the Bhaskar. So this is one tradition. Abhinavgupta belongs to both the traditions, to the tradition of Kalat and to the tradition of what you call, he more or less followed Kaula tradition and Pratibhagya tradition. Then
Pratibhagya as well.
Somanand, then there is the Kalatavat established the tradition of Supanda. Supanda tells you the doctrine
Vibration.
that the ultimate is having innate nature, and that innate nature consists in pulsation, or you may call it vibration. That
Vibration.
that it is not a dead log. It is alive.
Life. It has
Were
a
not
life.
Paramashiv alive, then it would have been difficult doctrinally to speak of him as being Swatantri, absolutely free. and only one who is absolutely free can do anything whatever he likes. And to bring about this whole phenomenal universe into being, you need ultimate freedom. You do not need to depend on anything. If you depend on something, then you are no more the absolute.
You become limited.
Absolute has to be independent. He can't be dependent. You and I, as contingent beings, are dependent creatures, whether physically, mentally, or emotionally. We need caring parents as when we are young. Then we need a wife, and wife also needs the caring. Then our own children. Then we do. This is how we depend. This world is interdependent. It is out of this theory how Kashmir Shaivism owes a great debt to Buddhism. In Kashmir, it was the center of three schools: Sarva Astivad, Vaibhashik, and Vijnanvad. The Sarvastivas and Vaibhashik, they are Theravadins. Theravadin means the old school, which is in Sri Lanka, Burma, Thailand, in these schools. They were
Far
opposed, which
East.
is also known as Hinayan. And this term is given or this imputed by Mahayanis. They say we are the great, you are small, you are inferior, we are superior, because we have a superior metaphysics. Out of this, the link between Mahayana and Hinayana, how Mahayana emerged, Vaibhashikas were the main cause. They were called analytical, vibhasha, vibhaja means to analyze, to diversify.
Analyze.
And then the question came when the Buddhist said everything is flux. Everything sarvam idam anyatyam. And when sarvam idam anyatyam, therefore there is no self, there is no atman.
Buddhists say that.
So we are self. There is no such thing substantial entity within us which we can call permanent. And that is where the fight began between the Brahmins and the
And the Buddhists.
Buddhists. And in this
And
Somanand's,
they speak of Nirvana. They speak of Nirvana, Doctor Sahab.
we'll
Yet they
also
speak of Nirvana.
yes, we'll come to that. Then Somanand, in his sixth chapter, has really very harshly criticized Buddhism. It is the Dharma Kirtis uh, Pramana Vartika, which is a logical treatise. And you cannot understand Kashmir Shaivism unless you understand what that criticism of Somanand is on Buddhism. Now, then this Buddhism was gave, you can say, led to the emergence of Mahayana. Mahayana in the form of what you call Shunyavad. Shunyavad is a school which was given birth by Nagarjuna. And Nagarjuna basically was from Andhra Pradesh, a Brahmana, before becoming a Buddhist. Then he shifted to Nalanda, where he was
Nalanda.
teaching. And he wrote a book on Shunyavad philosophy. And what is the thesis? In the Buddhist thesis is, we say this world is created by Parmeshwar or God, whatever you may say. Because in Kashmir there is no concept of God as such.
Rather,
It
it's
is
not in
very
English.
it is very bad linguistic. It's a linguistic wound that we are inflicting on Kashmir Shaivism when we speak of God consciousness. God, 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 God. There is no God in
There's
Kashmir
no
Shaivism. There is absolute, and you are that. Therefore,
Brahm.
you can say it is in anyhow. Then this Nagarjuna said everything is interdependent. There is nothing independent in this world. When you look at the world, everything is dependent. You are dependent on this. So he said they conceived a Bhava Chakra,
Hmm.
the circle of universe. how this world works, how it originates. They say one leads to another, another leads to another, and that's how things happen. Now, how do we depend on? We depend. Let us say when there is creation, when there is someone is born, so there has to be a male, there has to be a female, and then they have to get married, then they have to procreate. So it becomes interdependent. So they are dependent for everything. When there is dependence on everything, how can you say it is absolute? How can you say it is independent? If it is
Yes.
dependent, then it is nothing. That's what Shunya means. If it is nothing, the world has no substantially any meaning. It becomes meaningless. And so Nagarjuna came to conclusion. Then the question rose, how do you say it? There are four aspects. A thing is asti. A thing is not no asti. Then you say asti no asti. Is and no is not.
Is
Then
and
you
is not.
say no asti. So is that it's called Chotushthaya. Four, four formula. And within this formula, you can never get an answer. If you say that our structure of language is such, when you say this is day, then there is also the night. When you say up, then there is also down.
Down.
Huh? When you say emergence, then there is also submergence. So in this, so everything is interdependent. There is nothing to be independent. Since samsara is nothingness, the absolute as nirvana or nirvan is absolute cessation. And Buddha said, somebody asked him, one of his disciples, please tell me what is nirvana. He said to him, when you reach to this state, you will come to know what it is all about. The
So
analogy they have given of nirvana is that it is like a flame. You have a lamp, yeah, and there is a flame, and that flame gives light. And this flame, when it goes, it dies and comes again. It dies because the soyat,
fire is there.
that's burning. That is burning. So when it is burning, then the flame is also dying. So it is
But in
like
a
this.
way,
And
I
when the
think
flame when flame is extinguished, then tell me where did it go? Did it go up? Did it go down? Did it go south or did it go to north? That's what nirvana is. So you can say nothing. So nirvana is also nothing. But this was a hopeless situation. You could not accede to this despair. Like
yes.
Jam Prasad, it was hope. He said in one of his novels, The Age of Reason, man comes without reason, prolongs out of weakness and dies by chance. It's a hopeless philosophy. There is no hope. Then why should you commit suicide? Uh,
I think,
why
I
should
think,
you
I
think?
think, I think Buddha at the end might have realized. That's why you said, na. Buddha said that when you will reach to that stage, then you will understand what nirvana is. Because it
Mhm.
could not be. It could not be because he used all the contemplation methodologies where consciousness and other aspects are there. And how it could be that he said that after nirvana, there's nothing, there's nothingness. Because there must have been something there which he didn't share. Yeah.
The basic problem with Buddhism is they confine their analysis to empirical data. They did not go to metaphysics.
Metaphysics
You
there.
see,
Yes, that is the tragedy.
that's the biggest problem. They when they you see in the body, as in the Bhagavad Gita, I say, Komaram Yavanam Jara, where there is birth, Aja, where there is birth, there is have going to happen Kumaram. There will be a child, and the child will go someday old man, and then there is when he grows old man, he will die.
Okay.
That is, they analyze it as flux, as anyatitau, and thereby apply this theory to consciousness. Now, As a reaction to this theory of Nagarjuna, of nothingness, there arose Vijnanvad. And this Vijnanvad has a deep influence on Kashmir Shaivism. And the original, or you can say from whom it originated was Asanga,
Hassan.
who belonged to our area, up to Swat
Swat
and
Valley.
Maitriyanath. These are the two great stumps of Vijnanavad. They said, no, yes, there is, you may call it, fluxional nature of the world, of life, but there is consciousness. If there were not consciousness, then how would we know anything and everything? But then they said the problem is not with consciousness. There is a prayer to Freud. Freud came in the 19th century, and Asanga came in 4th century, 3rd
Also.
century, and he lived around about Kashmir, and he said there is Ali Vijnana. That means, to put it in contemporary words, subconscious. Alaya means the place. Vijnana means consciousness. You can say it storehouse. It is translated as storehouse consciousness, in which whatever you do, whatever you think, it leaves its impression, what is called vasana, in this storehouse. And it remains in a potential state in this mind, subconscious mind. And it is these subconscious impressions which are contained in your mind that determine your entire circle of life. You are
That even,
born,
yeah.
you are born, what is the karma theory? You can say this way, whatever karmas you do, they leave their
Yeah, those.
imprint in your
It's
mind.
in
And
way of modern sciences.
uh,
It is the modern contemporary great saints who have said it that these subtle bodies, subconscious subtle bodies, they travel with the soul. They envelop the soul and they formulate the next janma, next course of action of the soul.
well, that's one theory, but what Nagarjuna theory is that these impressions, they determine your future, and they thereby make you what you are in terms of your birth. Because in the theory of Nagarjuna, there is no possibility of rebirth. If everything is nothing, then who is reborn?
Who is
When there is
reborn?
nothing existing, then who is reborn? But they said it is consciousness. The problem with them is also Vijnanavad. They said consciousness is also anyati, flux. What does flux mean? Now let us say I look at this spectacle. The moment I have looked at this spectacle, it has gone transformed itself. There has been way and emergence. Within one thought, according to the Buddhists, everything changes. And what is the lifetime of a thought? Maybe a fraction, we don't know. You can't measure it. And by the time you want to apprehend, cognize a thing, by the time the thing has changed. So you never reach the reality. And in Utpal Dev, in his Pratibhigya Karika,
Pratibhigya
this is
Karika.
the greatest confrontation, greatest discussion between Buddhists and Kashmir Shavas. And this is where Buddhists have influenced Kashmir Shavas on the nature of consciousness.
Dr. Saab, for the viewers' sake, kindly sum up in 1-2 lines this Pratibhigya, the self recognition theory of self recognition.
theory of
Yeah,
theory of self-recognition, it is basically you have to understand little bit Pratibhigya.
right.
Pratibhigya said, and the background of it is Tantra. Pratibhigya philosophy said the consciousness, the nature of consciousness is not only Chit, and you have to take into consideration Advaitavad. Advaitavad said Brahma is only Chit consciousness, which is
Consciousness.
Chit means consciousness. And what does consciousness mean? Prakasha. Because when you know, you cognize things, because consciousness is of the nature of light. And the nature of the light is to reveal things. If the things are not revealed, then how are you going to cognize, to perceive that which you are perceiving? And it is because of that. But they forgot. That's where Kashmir Shaivism comes in. That consciousness is not just light. They gave the analogy of a diamond. Diamond is also full of light. It also is brilliant, gleaming with light. But diamond does not know that it possesses this light. But consciousness, the Paramashiv, as consciousness is not only light, but is also Vimarsha,
Vimarsha.
reflective or cognitive consciousness. So consciousness is not just light, revealing, but also apprehending. Then you come to know, when you apprehend or appropriate through revelation, your perception, that is turns into knowledge. This is where Vedanta and Kashmir Shaivism differ. Absolutely.
Dr. Sahab, that's what I
And
wanted to come with this point. The Vedanta, Purvamimamsa, Uttarmimamsa, Sankhya, Paramparas, the tradition school of Hinduism, how they differ with the Kashmir Shaivism, which you summed up just now. Latest with the modern form of
Sankhya,
it.
Uttar Mimamsa is the Vedanta, basically, the
Vedanta,
various
Vedanta.
schools of Vedanta. That's Advaita Vedanta, Vishishta Advaita, Dvaita Vedanta. There are so many, six schools of that. But anyhow, I will give you in brief. Okay, the oldest philosophy is Sankhya. Sankhya postulates two principles. It is polarized. One is Purusha, another is
Prakriti.
Prakriti. Now, this Prakriti is Jada, inert,
Jad.
but consciousness is Chaitanya. Purusha is Chaitanya.
Chaitanya.
This Purusha gets involved in Prakriti. That is Sankhya. And because of its involvement in Prakriti, it gets caught up in the bondage of transmigration. This is not a, it happens because of what they call aviveka. There is confusion. There is no
Lack
clarity.
of discrimination.
The Purusha, he is aviveka, ignorant. And because
Ignorant.
of this ignorance, he is unable to discriminate between sheer and neer, what is water, what is milk, what is real, what is unreal. And on account of that, he suffers. But Kashmir Shaivism does not agree with it. Because ajada, that which is jada, how can it have vivek? How can it give cause to something which is conscious? But Kashmir Shaivism is influenced by Sankhya insofar causality is concerned. They gave a theory called Satkaryavad. That Satkaryavad is the theory which says the effect exists in the cause. To give you this explanation of what does it mean, it means, let us say, a plant. Where does it exist? Before its production, it exists in the seed, in a
See.
potential form which you cannot see. Where does the peacock's plumage, this beautiful, colorful plumage exist? It exists in the juice of the egg. When the egg is hatched, then this beautiful peacock comes out of that egg. But it exists in a potential form. That is what Satkaryavad is all about. But then the Satkaryavad is also, there are two types of transformations. One is substantial transformation, another is qualitative transformation. Let us say curd, milk. When milk is becoming curd, it is substantial transformation. Milk does not exist. Now it is curd. So milk is destroyed. Or let us say food, wood and fire. When wood is burned, Food is reduced to ashes. Eh, So if Lord, let us say Kashmir Shaivism says, the Lord emitted, it is called Visarga, emitted the universe out of itself. If Lord emitted the universe of itself, does he mean that he transformed himself into the universe? If he transformed into universe, then he would be destroyed. Like the seed, when it gives birth to a plant, it is totally destroyed. Or like the milk, when it gives birth to curd, it is totally destroyed. The another is qualitative.
Hmm.
Let us take a lump of clay. A potter makes pots out of the clay. When a pot is made, clay is not lost. Clay is there. Only its formation is, its form, rupa,
Form changes.
that
Only
change.
form
That is the
changes.
qualitative, dharma. That is changed. But substance remains the same. It is clay still. Or you can take uh, gold. You take a
Ornament.
slab of gold, you make ornaments out of it. It may not be slab, but now gold is ornaments.
Hmm.
So the goldness of the gold is not destroyed. Its form is changed. Do we then apply these two theories to Shiva, Paramashiva? No. Abhinav changed this whole thinking. In his Paramarsar, which I have translated and also commented, which were published 2 years ago, and in that he says, he gave the theory of Bimba Pratibimba, theory
Bimba
of
Pratibimba.
reflection. When the
The
moon
reflection.
reflects in a pool of water, moon is there in the pool of water, but in itself, it is not affected by it. Likewise, Paramashiv projects the universe out of itself into his own mirror in
Reflection.
the form of a reflection. So this universe, you and me, are but the bimba, which is pretty bimb, reflected, or we are a bimba of Paramashiv.
But we are
But
with
when
we are real. Yeah.
we are real, to
Yeah.
the extent we appear, but then this bimba has a one difference. When you are reflected in a mirror, there are no bones. There is only the shape and the form.
That's true.
In a similar way, a Paramashiv is Paramashiv. He remains intact. Yet, the reflection that is reflected in the mirror is real. So, the world that we experience around is not fictitious, which in Advaita Vedanta, the world is called Mithya. Now,
It's called
why
mixture.
world? It is another theory of why Shankar called it Mithya.
Shankaracharya call it
Shankar was,
mixture.
Shankar was afraid
Hmm.
of imputing any kind of action to Brahman.
Okay.
Action means change. Now, Kashmir Shaivism took a bold step. They are very large hearted. They imputed Vimarsha. Vimarsha
Vimar.
means thinking, and thinking is action.
Thinking in action
When you call
conversation.
it is action, does this mean that Paramashiva is changing? Then the theory is the essential nature, Swabhava or Swarupa, it does not change. Exterior changes, but not the essence. What does that mean? The sun, which gives light. The nature of the sun is to give light. That is its essential nature. And therefore, this essential nature can never be changed. If we change the essential nature of a thing, that is the destruction of the thing. We cannot change it. It is like a tiger or a lion. Their essential nature is to eat, to be carnivorous. You can't change their nature to make them herbivorous. A tiger will never eat any herbs. He's not going to
That's
eat
right.
grass. He will need meat. So that is what Kashmir Shaivism said. Parameshiv's nature is consciousness, which is characterized by what is called light and prakasha and vimarsha. Now, Vedanta was afraid not to impute action. Why? Then they said, well, how did this creation come about? They said it is the work of Maya. Now, what is Maya? Shankar
What's
said
Maya?
Maya is anirvachini. You cannot say that it exists. You cannot say it does not exist. Why? When you have an illusion, let us say during dark, you see a rope and you think it is a snake.
Snake.
Yes, a rope can appear like a snake in the darkness, but when there is light thrown, you see it is a rope, and which means the snake, which was not there, he imposed a snake upon the rope. In actuality, it was rope, and that is called adasa, superimposition. So you impose your mental ideas eh, onto what, and your perception or your cognition was misplaced. That is called illusion. So illusion is that in which your perception is not correct,
You
defective.
superimpose something. Yeah.
And because of the defective perception, you say unreal is real. In other words, you impose unreal upon reality. That is the truth. And that's what Shankar said. This world is the creation of Maya. Now, during the time the illusion exists, it exists. But when there is knowledge, you negate it. There is no illusion. So you are unable to say Maya exists. Maya does not exist. Maya therefore both exists and does not exist.
Does not
And
exist.
that's what Shankar said, Anirvachini. You can't say anything about it. It's unthinkable. You can't Anirvachini.
But they said that
So
Advait Vedanta also another school of Advaita. They modified something. Shankara back home modified something.
that's called Vivartava. There is then another, it is a Mayavad, then there is Vivartava. That's
Okay.
appearance, the theory of appearance, which is equivalent to Bimba Pratibimba in Kashmir Shaivism. But this Vivarta is also false appearance because it is generated by your misperception. In Kashmir Shaivism, nothing is unreal. Everything Shuvo Aham, Shuvo Data. This is what Somanand said in his beautiful text. It's a very difficult text. Very, very difficult text. You have to be really brainy man to understand the Shivadrashti. You have to
Doctor, we'll come
really.
back. We'll come back where you left. We'll come back to that where you left. We're going to rejoin again. But before that, I would like to say this resurrection after sultans came over, everything was destroyed. This resurrection of Shaivism, which we see in the form of Lakshmanju Maharaj, and tell us about the lineage, a bit about the lineage, and then we'll come back to the main subject. Yeah.
Uh, See, we don't know lineage. You may
Okay.
claim anything, but
Okay.
the lineage comes from the time of Ramji. Ramji's
Swami Ramji.
guru, uh, uh, and his guru. But before that, we don't come which lineage come because from 13th century everything was destroyed. There
It
come
was
only
destroyed.
3 or 4 people who outshone during this period. One is Bhaskaracharya or Bhaskar Razdan. He wrote a beautiful commentary on the commentary of Abhinavgupta, which is Vimarshani. Vimarshani is a commentary by Abhinavgupta on Ishwar Pratipagya Karika of Utpal Dev.
Utpal Deva.
And he wrote called Bhaskari. It's a very philosophical treatise. And he also translated Lalawak into Sanskrit.
That's so one.
There are 60 verses he translated. And then comes Shiv Upadhyay in the 18th century, who wrote a commentary on Vijnana Vairav and organized compiled the entire library on Kashmir Shaivism. He saved most of the texts. And he was from, you see, there is a village near in Srinagar. There are only living Shias. Uh, I forgot. My sister is married in that village. Hmm. Anyhow, I forgot. And he was from there. And then comes um,
Patan,
uh,
Patan.
what is called in the 20th century. It is uh, in
Aftab.
the old age. It is a curse. Mm,
Aftab. No.
uh, anyhow, there are another two people, and
Okay.
he was one from Ganpatiyar. He wrote quite a few commentaries, very outstanding. Kashmir Shaivism came to be known. There are two people responsible. First is Ramju. Swami
Swami Ram.
Ram requested Maharaja Pratap Singh that he should revive Tolomul, all the temples, whatever it happened in Maharaja Pratap Singh's time. And he asked him to start the publication of this text. Then he established the research center called in KSTS, Kashmir Series, Sanskrit Studies and Series. And they started publishing the books. Mukundram Shastri was its superintendent, and they published a lot of 94 or 96 texts till
Still lying there in the
1940.
library in the Raghunath Gandhi
I
temple
have
there.
some of most of them. I have some most of them, but then it was closed during Sheikhullah when he became the chief minister. And after 1948, nothing was published. And
Swami Ramji and then
they go
Lakshman.
to Swami Ram, and then from Swami Ram's touch, of course, uh, uh, Swami Lakshmanju, and then there were another scholars of Kashmir. They are not being remembered. This was
Who is it?
Dinanath Yaksh. Dinanath Yaksh was the encyclopedia. Anybody who would come, whether it was Nari Noli, whether it was uh, from Banaras, the great scholars, they would come to, they had to go to him. He was a head
Oriental.
Pandit in the
Oriental.
library, but he is unremembered. This is a tragedy
That's a
because you
tragedy.
have to advertise. That's why I don't believe in advertising. And then there was Dr. Bharjinath Pandit, his great contribution in reviving Kashmir Shaivism. Then there was Nilkant Gurtu. He wrote
Nilkan
seminal
Gattu.
works. He was a disciple of Swamiji. And then there were two people in the last century, Mahamopadhyay Gopinath Kaviraj and Keshi Pandey.
Yes, ma'am.
These two people put Kashmir Shaivism on universal scale. Keshi Pandey's seminal work, Abhinav Gupta, which is 900 pages. That was his doctoral thesis. And when he came to Kashmir, Kashmiris did not help him. He had to
Oh.
purchase here and there and there to use um, all kinds of
हमारा
knowledge
इस क्वेश्चन चाहिए
in order
प्रॉब्लम.
to get the texts. So it is he who revived, and then he wrote two volumes on aesthetics, and most of these two, that is his Deliot thesis. And then he established Abhinav Gupta Institute in Lucknow University. And Mahamopadhyay, of course, was the doyen. And then Professor Trivedi.
प्रोफेसर
This
थे.
is the whole, because he said, when you say Swami Lakshmanji, he did not do any seminal work. He did not write. He translated some text, but he did not write any original thing. That's the thing. But he had a disciple, we had a certain kind of following, which were the high class people in Srinagar.
That
And
was elitist group. Indira Gandhi
uh,
used to come there. All the great
uh,
leaders used to come there. It
and
was an
these
untouchable,
are,
distant. Yeah, उस तरह का था.
you could not go there. Common
Could
man
not
had
go
no
there.
access. Common man
Common
had
man
no
didn't
access.
have any access.
That is the
That's a
problem.
dichotomy. That's a great dichotomy
And
actually.
now they have produced nothing. Now his disciples, none of them is doing all the work. None of them know anything. I know them
What
all.
about
I
what
go
about
sometimes to the ashram.
What about Mark Duzewski and Bettina Sharda and others? Mark Duzewski, Bettina Sharda.
Well, their problem is with them. They had the knowledge. I think they died, both of them, the
No, no.
sisters.
Bettina
Huh?
Sharda is alive. Bettina Sharda is alive. Yeah.
Okay.
Bettina Sharda.
Anyhow,
Bettina.
she did not write anything, and then the ashram people shunned them off because
Oh,
they became popular. They knew they lived with Swamiji for so many years, and
yeah.
they then began to teach the texts.
Started
And the
teaching in the
ashram
university.
people did not like it. They said perhaps they may supersede Swamiji. This is the
Okay.
problem.
Okay.
And
Anybody
they
can.
then entered their own families and they lived with them.
One personal
Again,
question. One personal question. When you came to this show
Mani Mara.
conversation, you invoked your guru. Who was your guru?
Huh?
I'm really curious to know who is your guru, to whom you
My
invoked.
guru,
Yeah.
in Vidya Guru is Dr. Bajinath and Jananath Yaksh.
Okay.
They have taught me.
Okay.
Uh,
That's
Jananath Yaksh had 10,000 manuscripts. All of them were burnt
and Vidya Guru
in
and
the migration.
spiritual guru, you differentiate?
My spiritual guru, there are two. One is Swami Chinmayanand, and I studied Vedant at the Pavai Ashram under Swami Dayanand Saraswati
Dayanand sir.
and Swami Chinmayanand. And
Dayanand Saraswati.
I studied Brahma Sutra.
काश हम
I
उनको
studied the
समझ पाए.
when I was working in the Institute of Indian Culture in Bombay, then I left that and joined the ashram for 3 years, studied these texts. So they are my spiritual gurus.
So let's go back a bit into Laleshwari. Let's talk about Laleshwari. She referred somewhere into the Vasugupta tradition. She was from the Vasugupta tradition, Tantric tradition. What she was all about?
Laldev belongs to hardcore Tantra, Krama tradition. And
Okay.
Krama tradition in Kashmir Shaivism came to be. I have also translated Krama Stotra, which is the foundation of Kashmir Shaivism. It was started at the close of 7th century by Shivanandanatha.
Right.
And Shivanandanatha had 3 disciples, Kyuravati, Mandakini, and Kalyanika. And Kyuravati had Govindraj, and Mandakini had Bhanuka, and Kalyani had no disciple, Iraknath. Iraknath was very ascetic. He wrote very few hymns, but not any seminal. He did not do much seminal work in spreading the Krama. Krama philosophy is Shakt in its orientation. It believes in 12 Kalis, representing it says, you see, there is subject, object, and the means of knowledge. There are the three, which correspond to Srishti, Sthiti, Samahar, plus transcendental reality. Just it 4, then the 3. 4 by 3 is equal to 12. And these 12 are the 12 Kalis. So these 12 Kalis are the Krama as to how the creation and its sustenance, its dissolution occurs in terms of time. Then a meditator is asked to meditate these 12 Kalis as the 12 flames. And these 12 flames are seen to be arising out of the fire of consciousness, Chid Agni. And everything that which is phenomenal, non real, that does not pertain to reality but to the conceptuality is burned, Bhasmasat Kurute. As in Bhagavad Gita also it says, Jnana is such which which reduces everything to Bhasma. And then this meditator, through his meditation, has the realization of consciousness as flaming consciousness. So this is the Krama. And this Krama was established at the close of the 8th century.
8th
It is
century.
to this study, it is to this tradition to which Lal Ded belonged. And in Kashmir, it was Vatulnath. He has written Vaturnath Sutras. Then you have Mahanai Prakash by Sri
Mahanai
Kant.
Prakash. Bilkul.
Mahanai, there are two Mahanai Prakash. They are in Kashmir, Upabrahms. And Laldet, if you go through the pages of it, it is all Tantric.
Tantric.
See, in one place he says, Shavan Sati Satmarg Rotum. What are the Shavan? 6 forests.
Okay.
6 forests are the 6 centers, chakras. And she ascended through as a Kundalini through these chakras.
Kundalani Jagrat.
And then she reached to the Satmarg. Sat means truth. Sat means also 7. Because in Kashmir Shaivism, there are 7 subjects. When you ascend on the scale of spirituality, you started from Sakal. You and I are Sakal, we are bound beings. Then after the bound beings come Pralayakal. Then come Vijnanakal. Then come Mantra, Mantreshwar, Mantra Maheshwar. These are 7 subjects. You arise inwardly until you reach to the Shakti, to the stage of Shakti, whereby you are merging in the consciousness which is represented by Shiva. And here it is the
Sahasrar
Brahmarindra
Kamal.
or
Brahmarudra.
Sahasrar, where
Sahasrar Kamal.
this
SDK.
Sahasrar or Brahmarindra, one of the two, you can call it. So
Brahmarudra chu
you
pata
go,
SDK is different. Brahmarudra is different. SDK chu kaimis the baimis mans. Brahmarudra chu tam pata. Each one.
but it is there synonymous.
Anyway,
Then
doesn't matter.
you reach there, you have to merge Satmarg Pov.
That's so wonderful. That's so wonderful. It's a great revelation.
And in
That
my recent book,
Laleshwari, we need to explanation which sect of Shaivism she followed. So you clarified today.
Shaivism, yes. But in a tantric form,
Tantric.
hardcore tantric, in a hardcore tantric form. And then I have translated this, I have analyzed these 3 people in my recent book, which has been published 3 days ago.
Yes, Bhattanarayana, I wanted to ask you
Bhattanarayan,
about.
and then Utpal Acharya and Laldet. The mysticism, what kind of mysticism? These 3 great Siddhas preached and expounded at length. Shiv Sutotravali in what is called Madhuraj. He was a disciple of Abhinav. He writes in Paramarsha Shastra. He writes in that the moment you read or hear the verses of Shiv Stotravali, that very moment, it penetrates you and it leads you to the experience of as to what Paramashiva is all about. He was from Madras, and he came from Madras, and there was when Abhinav Gupta was very young, and when he had written this Tantra Log, it's an encyclopedia. It is in 12 volumes. Now it has been abridged into 8 volumes. And when he became so famous, then all the Shaivite scholars of throughout India came to Kashmir to see whether he is authentic or inauthentic. When they saw him, they saw it as a lad. I was a 20, 25 years old man writing Tantra Log. And then they conferred him. He is the incarnation of Shesha. This title is given only to 2. To Panini, to Patanjali, and to Abhinav Gupta. And also he was then given the title of that he is the Anshik incarnation of Paramashiva at such a young age. So he became the head of all the schools of Shaiva schools of India at very young age. And when he was mere student, his uncle, Vaman Gupta, who composed this literary text called Bodhini, And he says he gave him title Bhagavat Pada when he was simple, a child studying his own uncle. So you can understand. And I have translated all his hymns, Abhinav Gupta's hymns. It came out in March or something like that. It's called A Banquet.
You've done a lot of work. It's a prolific work and
I have to,
very deep study.
yes, yes.
Very deep study.
Uh,
I mean,
I have,
it's not plastic.
I have no social life. That's
I
why
know
I
you
could
told
do
me
this.
other day. I don't meet anyone. I don't perform anyone.
No,
I
I
don't
don't
talk.
need. I
I
don't
don't meet
need.
people to.
I am little. I don't seek anything. I don't need.
You
You
you you are
see,
you are a scholar. You
huh?
are a scholar. Besides modern humanities, you are also scholar of classical languages. Classical
Huh, huh,
languages. What do you
huh.
consider classical language other than Sanskrit?
Hebrew, which is classical language. There is German also classical German. There is
Classical
classical
in India.
all the
In India.
but you can say ancient languages: Greek, Hebrew,
Well, actually,
and Sanskrit.
once I was in South India, there was something going on spiritual. I told somebody that you are from derived from Sanskrit. I mean, angry. He said, no. We are contemporaries of Sanskrit. Tamil and Malayalam. We are contemporaries of Sanskrit. We are
Not
also
Malayalam.
classical language.
Malayalam. You can well, it is Tamil is
Yeah,
well 60% of terms in Tamil are Sanskrit.
they are
But
Sanskrit. Yes,
Tamils
I told them,
they are
but
so
they don't
carried
accept.
away by this false nationalism. Hmm? They, uh, they
They get scared.
you can say anything. The Sangam literature, this and that, welcome. This
अपनी अपनी आइडेंटिटी और अपनी
nonsense.
अपनी डफली है. Everybody wants
Now
to
nowadays in
belong.
Kashmir, they are denying that we were Hindus because
नहीं.
in Kashmir,
No.
in
Now
Kashmir,
Farooq Sahab has said it. We are Hindus, and Azad Sahab is
but they
also
weren't
saying.
done. What has he done? He has spoken half truth. Inferior and superior. There
There
were
is
no
one.
inferior.
There are
There,
three four questions. I will not ask for questions because it's a very. I mean, having a discussion with you, it's full of knowledge. Everybody is asking that you have a second session with Dr. Saab also, but there are some small questions here and there. I mean, first of all, I wanted to reach there. Professor B.L. Jutsi, he is one of the very great pillars of this. Avatar Motaji is there. There are many people who have joined me. Hotedar Saab is there. There are many people. Satish Kaul is there. But there, one question they are asking that I also wanted to ask. Probably you replied it already. That in Swami Lakshman Ji's time, there was only an elitism. Tragedy with Kashmir Shaivism that the majority of the people, Kashmiris, and
hmm.
our diaspora across, they have no access to it. It was only an elite group who had an access to it, and somewhere down the line, if we go to the modern people who had this consciousness awareness, the great gurus of the modern times, say we may call them commercial or whatever, but they have something. We can go for transcendental meditation. You can go to Maharishi's meditation process. You can go to Sri Ravi Shankar's meditation process. You can go to anybody for that matter, Ramakrishna Paramahansa, Sri Ramachandra's processes. Consciousness theories are there. They are propagated in thousands and lakhs people are getting benefited from that. But unfortunately, Kashmir Shaivism remained in I mean, although it is very difficult, Professor B.L. Jutsi has written how to simplify it. But besides that, I would like to say how to make it accessible, because till now it has not been accessible. It is an old cynical Brahminical line that you cannot read it. It is only the literate who can do it. So I want a bit of what do you really want to talk about this part of this
You're
situation?
wrong. Kashmir Shaivism, well, you're wrong. Kashmir
I'm wrong.
Shaivism has outright rejected this Varna ashram. You have to study Tantra Lok.
No,
Huh?
Varna. I'm not
Kashmir
saying.
Shaivism in
I'm not
Tantra
saying Varna.
Lok, huh?
I didn't talk about Varna. I didn't talk about Varna. I
That
didn't
was
talk
the
about.
Brahminical. When you said Brahminical,
No, no, no,
they
no, no,
were
no, no,
all
no. You didn't hear me. I said Brahminical cynicism, that
that is true.
all the
Which
literature,
is
it will remain
the
contained and
tradition.
confined to a particular set of people. It doesn't have an outreach to the
That's the
wider spectators. That's
you
what
see
I want to say.
the great
Not
service in
passes.
contemporary times to Kashmiri societies has been done by Premnath Joshi. He
Right.
made at least available certain things to all the Kashmiris, and he was available. But this has not happened. Kashmir, Swami Lakshmanjo had a great opportunity to bring this knowledge in simple terms and to prepare people for preaching this. As Swami Chinmayanand, he began this
Preceptors.
task. He is establishing institute every year for 3 year course. They give them free food, free lodging, free boarding, everything, and then they teach them Vedanta. And those people go into the field and then they preach. And we have not done anything, even after diaspora. What have we done? Who has written anything outstanding except those people who are no more now? This is a tragedy in Kashmir, because the problem is also this classification among what Faruqullah called inferior and superior Brahmins. It happened during Barsha time, when life became impossible to
Hmm.
conduct, because under the very, he was not a very great king in the beginning. He was as harsh as anything. When
They
he
were the
had this,
fugitives. They were the
uh,
fugitives. They ran away from Tamur and they took a refuge in valley and
he
they
became soft only when Shrivat
Shibat came
cured
in.
him of his disease. And then Shrivat said, there is no any other option. We have to have two types of a classification. A Brahmins who were totally to be devoted to the Shastra to carry out this tradition, and the Karkuns. But then what happened? Reverse. Karkuns began to hate them. They would look down upon them. Oh, Goar. But
Ah,
we
nonsense.
owe them a great, great, great debt.
This
Whatever,
Pandits who preserved it.
whatever tax, whatever tax you have available, it is because of them. And
Yes.
they maintain, though in secret, the Sanskrit language alive.
Salutation to them.
Otherwise,
Salutation.
it would have, because you were not allowed to study, to preach, and to recite Sanskrit during Muslim period. And
Have
so
you have you have you anything
they
else to
are
say? Why? Yeah.
वो पात्र है. They are the vessels of praise, these people, and
One
that
of
is the
the
tragedy. And Farooq partly is true, but conversion had already taken place.
it had already started taking place. Yeah.
It had already
Khalsa
been.
to
Baksha was it had already done that. Harm had already been done.
already been done, and what could he do? Even he could just rectify it, try to create an harmonious atmosphere.
Even now, we are
Yeah,
not reforming ourselves. We have become worse.
that's true. That I
Uh,
agree. That I
and
agree.
now you got any fame, at least in the village. We used to have, when my father or uncle or anybody would rise up in the morning, they will recite few hymns in your family, then go to the temple, have a tilak. But now nobody knows anything.
Nobody knows.
Then
We
we
are
would,
all Karamkand.
when we would enter into kitchen, we would wash our hands. We will not touch anything in the kitchen unless wash our hands. All these things are gone. It has become now a past thing.
Even if we wash our hand, we go with the sleepers outside sleepers into the kitchen.
That is
How does it matter?
that is the fact. You bring your slippers inside the house. See, what I'm saying,
बाहर की सारा
our
घर में
healthy
डाल-
tradition, our healthy traditions we have given up.
You have given
What was
already reply
what
to
was
that
needed to
question.
be
Yeah, yeah. Please, sir.
what was to be given up has been retained. What what was needed to be kept has been thrown out. That is the problem. That is the tragedy. We need a great man like Kashoban. The great
Kashyap
reform of
Bandhu.
Kashmir. There was only one man, that was Kashoban, who brought a total reformation. He is the man who brought the sari and all these things and was against the dowry system, other things. And he was a great man. And we did not pay any respects to him. In recently, this, what was his name? He worked for during the time migration. I have forgotten his name. Very great man. He was a from RSS man.
Okay.
You see, this is the thing. We have to have some people. And if Lakshmanju had taught certain people, prepared them to go into the field
He
and
only,
preach.
I think, with due respects to him, he only created an elitism and isolated. He isolated further. He had got such a wonderful science and ancient science with him.
Yes.
He only invited prime ministers of the country, and some Australians, some Americans, and nobody was allowed to enter there. I even had once had a bad experience there when I went to Lakshman Jew. I was rebuked by him. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I still respect him because he was an acharya. I mean, he was
But
follower of the tradition.
we
But
have
then
to
again,
respect him because he was a
we have to
he
respect
did
everyone.
something.
But
Yes,
and
yes.
there's a question.
Go on,
There's a question by one of our great admirers of Sheetalnath conversation, Ghulam Hassan Mir Sahab. He has said that ask Pandit ji how different is Kashmir Shaivism from Hinduism. I think you have already replied to that. Sankhya Parampara and Mimamsa and other how different it is between the Kashmir
It's not
Shaivism.
different. Kashmir Shaivism is the development. You can say when a tree is planted, there is a
What which?
stem, and there is the branches, there is the top. It is like that. Kashmiri Shaivism is one of the branches of of Hinduism. It cannot separate itself from Kashmir Hinduism because
What
it is a
which? What
part of
which
it.
is the same?
Because
Stem is the
there
same.
are, Abhinav Gupta himself accepted 6 acharas. The
Shishtachar.
first achar is Veda achar,
Vedachar.
Shaiva achar, then there is Mat achar, then there is Vama achar, then there is Dakshina achar, then there is Kaula achar, then there is Trika achar. This is how it goes from Vedas are for your daily life, how to conduct your affairs in the world. And what Kashmir Shaivism differs from the Vedantic tradition is in sannyas. For Kashmir Shaivism, one of the beauties of Kashmir Shaivism is it is not negative about other systems of thought. It says a man, if he has studied up to 10th class, he will have the knowledge only of a 10th class boy.
That's true.
So it is valid that the denomination, that structure is valid to up to the point of 10th class. But then he says Kashmir Shaivism is doctorate or delete, you can say it that way. So Kashmir
Professor
Shaivism,
Professor BL Jutsi is saying that why can't we simplify Kashmir Shaivism? Why can't we simplify this ritualistic? This intricate, the structure of Kashmir Shaivism. Why can't we
you see,
simplify it? Professor BL Jutsi says, yeah. Question is there.
we can simplify Karma Kand. Karma Kand you can't simplify, you can abbreviate it. Because
Right.
Karma Kand it is mostly ritual. But what is you can simplify is the interpretation of what you call most difficult thinking. That when you study, let us say, Somananda, as I said, even Abhinav, very difficult texts. But you can
Hmm.
simplify it and interpret it in such a way that an ordinary man can understand. But then there has to be a tradition also. Do Kashmiris buy books? Do they study?
Right.
When we claim to be an educated community, 100 say that I have not written
Yeah.
simple
Keep a
books.
distance from.
But then
Yeah.
they have to make an
Your
effort.
sound.
You have to
Yeah.
make an effort.
That's true.
We are not children that somebody has to put something in our mouth. And Abhinav Gupta also says, he says, a guru can do nothing. If the disciple is a mura, is a
Okay.
fool, what can you do?
Okay. You
You
have
can
also
show them the
studied.
way, but
You have written a book named "A Study of Buddhist Compassion and Christian Love." A study of Buddhist compassion
that
and
is
a bit of
that
a bit. Yeah.
the difference is you see, it's called in Christianity agape. There are two types of love in Christianity, more or less.
Right.
You can eros. Eros is the you
Erotic.
give and take. That is selfish. You give and take, wife and husband, children.
Yeah.
It's a give
Erotica.
and
Yes.
take. That's eros. Well, erotic, that's a, you can say that's only confined to sexual, but in a broader framework,
broad of
it is
erotic.
you give me this, I give you this. We love children because we expect them to help us in the old age. Huh? That's one of the cheeses. You give me, I teach you. This is give and take. But the concept of agape is the love sacrifice, which they link to the love to Christ's death. Christ, they say the Christ died for humanity, and that is the agape. When the Buddhist is karuna, their compassion is bodhisattva. Bodhisattva would like to be born again and again and again in order to uplift humanity. And the best example is given that there was once upon a time a bodhisattva sitting in his meditation. A bird came flying in terror and sat in his lap. There came a hunter who asked the bodhisattva that please give me my bird because it is my means of living. Bodhisattva said, no, I will not give it to you. What you want meat, and you can cut from my body that amount of flesh equivalent to the weight of the bird. That is the Buddhist compassion. And this story comes in Romeo and Juliet. When
Yeah,
Shylock cut this entire Romeo and Juliet play is based on this Buddhist theory.
Venice of the
Tripitaka.
West.
And so at the medieval time to the time of Shakespeare, this story had traveled to Europe. So this
Told
is the
you.
difference between the two. Here is that Bodhisattva is offering himself, and does not want to have salvation. He wants to come back to this universe in order to help suffering humanity. In the case of Christianity, Christ died once for all. Then he is not ready to come into the universe to help the humanity. This is the difference between the two. So
Fundamental
the
difference.
transcendence and negation. In one, there is a negation. In another, there is you transcend your limitations by offering yourself as an oblation. What is the yajna? In yajna, you offer oblation. But
Ahuti.
you offer that which is dear to you, that is the material. But then you have to come in Kashmir self when you meditate, then you have to offer yourself. Basmasar. So you have to do yourself you have to reduce yourself to the heap of ashes. This is the difference between the two. I have written a very similar work on Buddhism in which you find this all the schools of Buddhism in Kashmir, their philosophy is called being as becoming. And it's a
Being and
very
becoming.
being as becoming. That Buddhists do not believe in being, they believe in becoming. That everything is flux, nothing is permanent, everything is changing. Whereas in Kashmir Shaivism, everything is being, and that which seems to be becoming is just a reflection of being. This is the difference between the two, and that's why in the very big first verse of Pratibhagya Karika, Utpal says that you do not have to prove yourself who you are because you are witness to yourself. And in Europe, this thesis was discussed by Descartes in the 16th century when he said, Ergo sum est, I think, therefore I am. That was wrong. First, in Kashmir Shaivism, it is, I am, therefore I think. When I am, then I can think. If I am not, then how can I think? But Descartes said, I think, therefore I am. That was the wrong way to putting the things. So, this shows the universality of metaphysics. Of
How do you correlate it with the modern this dimensions of consciousness given by the great saints like Paramahansa and Paramahansa
Paramahamsa follows
Vivekananda?
Tantra. So, Paramahamsa, these, whether it is Shri, what is art of living, or Ramakrishna Paramahamsa is a Vedantic as well as Tantric. He is a
Both.
combination, fusion of the two. So that's why he could juxtapose one against the other. That is, he said, this is on the one hand, through practice, he became a tantric and experienced that reality which was explained in the Vedantic texts, particularly Upanishads. Ravi Shankar, I would not place him at the level of Ramakrishna.
No, no, we
Ramakrishna was
cannot. We cannot. We cannot. Certainly, we cannot.
Ramana Maharshi.
Ramakrishna,
Ramana
Raman Maharshi.
Maharshi was a great. And
Transcendental
close to
meditation.
Kashmir.
Bhavatit
No,
Yog.
not
Bhavatit.
not Ramana Maharshi from South.
Acha, Raman Maharishi.
Ah,
Raman Maharishi.
and then
Okay.
Aurobindo, Sri
Arbindo.
Aurobindo. He was much influenced by
Revolutionary.
Kashmir Shaivism. Because one of the beauties of Kashmir Shaivism is ego is not eliminated. Rather, Paramashiv said, Aham Vimarsha. I am.
Aham
When
Brahmosi.
I am not, then how can you? Huh?
Aham Brahmosi.
Yes?
Chana statak. Aham Brahmosi.
No, the
Aham
Aham
Brahmosi.
Brahmasmi, that's Mahavakya. That is I am Brahma. But here he says, I am ego. If I am not a person, if I am not, that is Ishwar, that is what Ishwar Advaitavad means. If I am not I, then how I am going to execute anything? If I am to bring the creation, manifestation, how I am, there has to be somebody. And that somebody is I. And that's called I consciousness. This is the beauty of Kashmir Shaivism. So, one of the things is Kashmir Shaivism does not say you should do this, you should not do that. It does not. It is not a Nishedadmat, as all other religions are. It does not. It gives you freedom. What suits you the best, that you should follow. It also accepts, it rejects. It says, Abhinav Gupta says in Tantra Lok, even a Chandala, these are his words, can be your guru if he has achieved the highest knowledge. He says the most important aspect in a guru is whether he has scriptural knowledge. And then there are three pillars in Kashmir Shaivism which are important: Anubhav,
Anubhav.
reason, and Yukti, and then scriptural testimony. If there is synchronization between these three, there is no conflict, then you are on the path of truth. So reason, experience, and scripture.
That's so wonderful, sir. So wonderful.
These
Actually, we would like to
they are
have
most
another.
essential. They are most essential in
We'd
Kashmir
like to
Shaivism.
have another session with you. Everybody is asking for another session. Everybody, there are some
Yes,
trivial. There are some
can do
trivial
it.
questions. I think you have already replied to them. Somebody has asked. Some friend of mine has asked that what was the. I mean, in earlier times when Buddhism came in, viharas, the Shivalayas were converted into viharas or something like that, and it had already the design
No,
of
at that
circle.
time there were no Shiva. At that time
There
there
were
were no Shivalaya.
there were Shivalayas or
When
something like
Buddhism
that.
came, because was at that time Buddhism, Shaivism was in a fluid form. So Viharas is a Buddhist concept,
It's a Buddhist
and
concept.
the Machika Gurus, it is the people who preach this Kashmir Shaivism in the valley of Kashmir were the Machika Gurus. I was a guru, I was a teacher, like Somanand, for example. He has a mat,
Matha, yeah, Matha.
and then he preached, taught his disciples, and those disciples were exceptionally brilliant, genius. Abhinav Gupta wrote on literary criticism, on aesthetics. Abhinav Bharati is outstanding. If there would have been no Abhinav
Yeah,
Bharati, nobody would have understood what Nati
dramaturgy,
Shastra is.
Bharat Muni's dramaturgy. Yes, I have written about that also once.
So that this is the fact.
Fifth Veda, they
So
call it Fifth Veda.
we could have another session maybe next month, not
We'll
this month.
definitely have, sir, because you are on a much demand. Shashi Shekhar Toshkani is writing, everybody is
Uh-huh.
writing, and they are appreciating it very much. So they are hard, they
Also,
really want that.
I
Everybody
know
around.
him, Shashi Shekhar. He is a good man. Uh, he has
And
he knows a lot of things. I know him, but most of
I,
them I do not know
I
because
don't
I am
really.
I am
You
a
remain, I know you remain
what you
devoted to your work.
sannyasi.
You remain. Tell us something about you are the secretary of this international center for this dialogue and research. Denmark.
It
Tell us
was
something about
there are
your
two
engagement with that.
organizations in this. It is no more now existing. There were two
Okay.
international dialogue to enter into the different religion. Then there was the Buddhist mission in
Okay.
Norway, and I wrote quite a number of books under their tutelage because they provided financial help to produce those books. But Kashmir Shaivism I have done on my own without any support from anyone. It cost me a lot, but I am happy to do it because I have it costs when you have to buy the books, when you have to consult the manuscripts. I have to do it myself. I type myself. I make what you may call uh,
Soft copy.
index. Everything I do myself. I read proofs myself. So I have no help outside help.
Your books
Uh,
sell in the Western world. They sell a lot in the Western world. Your books
there are most of the books are out of print now. Yes,
out
yes,
of
yes,
print.
yes, yes. And there are quite a few publishers who are approaching me to reprint them. Uh,
And you are talking
I said,
about
okay.
the Center for Research and Dialogue, Denmark,
And
of
that was
Seg-
to study the yoga movement basically. That was meant
Okay.
to study how it has influenced the thinking of the people. And I wrote very similar work on it. It's called Disclosure of Being. It is a study on Patanjali Yoga on the one hand and then Tantra on the other hand, Kashmiri Tantra,
Kashmir.
and what their dimensions are. Uh, and it was very well reviewed by Ramakrishna Mission people. This book it's called Disclosure of Being. Yes. So this is what then I wrote Turkish Shaivism of Kashmir, philosophical and practical aspects of Kashmir Shaivism, uh, non-dualism Kashmir Shaivism. And now I am writing even encyclopedic work. Then I translated Paramarsar. Uh, I translated Siddhanath's
Ramanai.
Kramastotra. I
Namastotra.
start. I've been up with all the verses now. Bhattanarayan, all the I translated and wrote commentary. So it is going on, going on.
What
At this time, I'm writing an answer near eight. It will be 700-800 pages book. So
one
far, I
question,
have
one
written.
one question, slightly one question I want to clear that Mata Rupa Bhavani, she always
Uh,
said that she was Laleshwari was her guru and she followed the Shiva's path, Shaivistic path.
all the Kashmiri
Yeah.
Siddhas, they have there have been Krishna Bhaktas also. There is no like Ram Bhakta. This my great grandmaternal grandfather Prakash Gurgami, and
Okay.
they have been. He has been.
Perfect.
There has been a Vaishnav tradition. Bhakti Paramanand in Matan. The great poet of Kashmir. He was a Vaishnava. He was the follower of Krishna. And then you have the Razan Saab from Vanpur. He was a polyglot, and his poem, it's exceptional. One of the poems, mm, um, Dalmo Hoshi Chataki Pampo Shav, Sarakar Samsar Nadaroidrav. Had he been an Englishman, he would have got a Nobel Prize for it. But
So,
unfortunately, he was a Kashmiri Pandit and nobody has translated it. That's another tragedy. We have done nothing. We have only
हमने
done
कुछ नहीं किया.
clerical. Kashmiri Pandits have been just because of
खाना
slavery
पीना बस.
during
Yes.
Muslim period. We have been slaves, and that slavery is continuing. Mental
And we have
slavery. We
not
have never.
even all these the institution have been rebuilt by Dogras. They were Dogra empires. Our role is nothing. Our role is nothing.
No, during Maharaja Pratap Singh, they were very
Maharaj
favorable
Pratap
to
Singh's
Kashmir.
time, I mean, all these things were
No,
revived.
very favorable. He has
I heard
all
that
the
I
this
heard that
Purumul.
even somebody some Western scholar who came to see the scriptures, Maharaja Pratap Singh asked him to take a clean bath, purify yourself,
Uh,
then enter this library. So they were so much
uh,
giving so respect to these scriptures, these
he was
libraries,
a
these
man.
ancient.
He was a man of God himself. He used to get up
Okay,
at 3 o'clock. That is the Shergadi. There is a temple, and then he used to
yeah,
work from 3 to 9 in that temple. He was a very, very religious man. And that
And
period was the most peaceful period in Kashmir
peaceful
during Maharajah, most peaceful period.
and
And
constructive also
and
institutions and building.
Kashmiri
Yeah,
Pandits experienced real freedom in that area. In
course,
that
all
area.
Kashmiris, why Kashmiri, all Kashmiris also, they were also, they were not partisanal people. Dogras were not
Uh-huh.
partisanal towards the religion. All
No,
Kashmiris
no.
were good in those periods, better than
They did not
Sultans.
inflict any kind of cruelty on Muslims. No. They gave
No,
them the same respect which they gave to the Hindus.
they gave
Of course,
equal respect.
uh,
Yeah,
to
and
everybody, everybody.
they didn't differentiate between religion and
Maharaja
religion.
Pratap Singh then removed the Begari. There was a Begari system in Kashmir.
Begari tradition
Maharaja
was
Pratap
removed.
Singh removed it,
I
yes.
think your students will also be enjoying this session across the world. They must be watching. I have already sent you the link. You can submit this to your students who are your our Moti Lal Pandit Saab. His students are watching this program across the globe. I must inform all my viewers, esteemed viewers. So that is another thing. This has an educative. This program too has an educative value. And today, I think all people are very much delighted. We are honored. We have learned a lot, and we really don't want to leave you. Certainly, after a month, I will request Dr. Saab to come back again and give us one or two lectures. Keep it reserved for your time, reserved for Sheetalnath conversations. We are very delighted. Any last word you want to give to the tell to the messages to you want to give to the youngsters? Because I am worried about youngsters. Our youngsters are very
My
far away. Yeah,
my only appeal is to people, wherever they will get a chance. Academic studies all right, but they must have a traditional understanding of the texts. Otherwise, you will never understand them. You will
that's true.
use these all what you may call uh, structured thoughts, Western, and try to
That's true.
analyze through that, and then
Through
you are
that
far away.
prism.
That and you will have false lengths. So do not lose the opportunity. If, for example, I am teaching on Sunday, join, keep continuous. But the problem is how many people are there? Three or four, and then they also are not regular. How are you expecting them to be to have a knowledge of it? I am now teaching the most important text, uh, Spandakarika, with commentary of Chaimraj.
Yamaraj.
Nirnay. It's a very, very tough text. Then you understand what is the all theory of Spanda and Kashmir. Phenomenology arose in Europe in the 19th century. In Kashmir, it was established in the 8th century, 9th century by Utpal Dev.
Already there.
Phenomenology of consciousness.
Consciousness
That,
was a very
that
alien term to the West. Even
it is even God. You see, it is all right. We have a theological concept of Paramashiv, God, but from a philosophical point of view, there is no Paramashiv.
there is no pumps.
There is only some with. There is consciousness and nothing else.
Only consciousness. Swami
So
Vivekananda says the
you
same
can
thing.
take these theological nomenclatures away, but only then when you have reached perfection.
That's
Otherwise, you become a half-baked person. That is very dangerous.
Dulukut. Dulukutu.
We must not be that. You see,
Thank
manipulate.
you very much, sir.
Oh, क्या है? वो, अच्छा, अच्छा जी.
Thanks a lot. It
नमस्कार.
was a great pleasure indeed. We are very much honored and great respects to you for your knowledge and for your enlightenment. This was a very enlightening session. We'll definitely have
Thank
another
you,
session with you. Thank you very much.
thank
All
you,
the best
thank
for your
you,
good health.
thank you, thank
Best
you,
wishes.
thank you,
Thanks a lot, sir.
thank you.
So that was Dr. Moti Lal Pandit. I think you could understand what kind of what enormity and what deep depth and understanding of Kashmir Shaivism, and not only Kashmir Shaivism, Christianity, and other things, other aspects of Mahayana, Kashmir Buddhism, how much deep he is, how much books he has written. His books are out of stock. Western people are reading it everywhere, and but unfortunately, in India, in Kashmir, people don't buy these books. They are the real books. They are the original books. They are not the cut copy paste books. I request all the youngsters, besides reading Da Vinci Code. They must read all kind of a literature in the world. They must Western, uh, Arabian, Indian, but they must definitely read their literature of their land that is contributed by the geniuses and brilliant people like Pandit Moti Lal Pandit Sahab, Dr. Moti Lal Pandit Sahab. Thank you very much. It was a great pleasure to have you all with me, and we had a very, very wonderful, retreating, rejoiceful, enlightening session. Thank you very much. I would like to complete this not without a couplet, and that too from Sahir, because I'm a romanticist, and Sahir was also a romanticist. And romanticism is nothing; it's about hope. It's about hope for betterment, hope for the future, hope for improvement of the world, hope for improvement of the brotherhood, hope for happiness, hope for positivity. तूने खुद अपने तबस्सुम से जगाया जिन्हें, तूने खुद, अब तुम यू कैन कोरिलेट इट विद एनीथिंग, विद गॉड और योर बिलवड. तूने खुद अपने तबस्सुम से जगाया जिन्हें, उन तमन्नाओं का इजहार करूं या ना करूं. थैंक यू वेरी मच. गुड नाइट. शब खैर. नमस्कार. बेस्ट विशेस टू ऑल. जय हिंद.